Devin Brown gives out a cryptic tweet this week of ships burning in a harbor. And Buckeye Nation was like, huh? And then you started to do a little digging, and you found out that the painting is a representation of when Cortez arrived in the New World somewhere in Mexico, and he saw that his soldiers and his shipmen were tired, hungry, and depressed, and didn't have the gumption to fight against an Aztec army that was going to defend their nation to the teeth. And so he said, I've got to get them in the right frame of mind. And so he ordered his men to burn the boats, symbolizing there would be no turning back. It was all forward from here. Devin Brown gives out that cryptic tweet, and Buckeye Nation, when they realized what that meant, was like, I'm all in on this guy. Chris, I'll start with you since it is your birthday this week. What did you think of Brown's tweet, my man?
Well, I'll tell you, I loved it, man. I think it's a great attitude to have. Basically, he's, he could have just came on, though, with the Jake Taylor tweet from Major League and said, there's only one thing left to do, win the whole freaking thing. That's basically what he's saying is we got nowhere to go from here. All we can do is fight. And I'm not surprised at the number of people who freaked out about it. When we did our Mount Rushmore thing, we learned that history is not exactly the strong point of Ohio State football players and in some cases fans, not realizing there was only 4 heads on Mount Rushmore. So I get that maybe they didn't get the connection. So, I love it. I love his attitude. It's an attitude of leadership, Eric. He's basically saying, we're going into battle, and I'm going to take you there. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Yep. JR, your thoughts?
Oh, you guys heard me say it last time. The only way that Ohio State loses this game coming up is if Devin Brown doesn't start. And if you ask me, it sounds like Devin Brown is going to start. If he's burning the boats and he's only going forward and he's never going to retreat, he's never going to run away, that's what I want. And honestly, I just love everything about this kid. I know that he didn't play great, and believe me, I've heard it on Twitter. Every time I say something good about Devin Brown, somebody's like, oh, he sucked in the games and he wasn't all that good. It's like, he never got a fair shot. In my mind, does anybody realize how hard it is to play quarterback, and especially just being randomly thrown in? That's one of the reasons why I don't want to see Lincoln Kienholz in this bowl game. It's because I don't think he's going to get a fair shot. I don't think it's going to be fair to him or Devin Brown. Whoever looks the best, which I think is probably Devin Brown in bowl practice right now, let them have the shot at the game. Let them start. Let them go after it. And it sounds like Devin Brown is the man, and I could not be happier about it.
Real quick, do we think that this could be maybe a little bit of a cryptic shot at Kyle McCord as well?
Hold on.
No retreat,
Hold
no
on.
surrender?
Hold on. We'll get there. Yes. Because you all know we are the podcast that apparently loves McCord, apparently. I say that in all sarcasm.
Yeah,
Aaron.
yeah, we're the reason that he left. Didn't you know that, Eric?
Yeah, well, some people might think so. Aaron, if your internet will hold up, I'd like to get your thoughts here on that cryptic tweet from Brown. Nope. Didn't hold up.
You guys pretty much. Yeah, you guys summed it up pretty well.
Okay, so you froze right away, buddy.
I figured that would happen. But you guys all summed it up really well. I would agree with all of that. I think it's a rallying cry. So hopefully the team will fall behind him. And I'm like JR. I want to see him get his fair shake. I want to see him play the whole bowl game. See what he can really do from start to finish.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what JR and Chris just kind of alluded to there, was that maybe him symbolizing I'm all in, I'm moving forward, there's no going back, there's no retreat, is a little bit of a shot at one Kyle McCord. Do you agree with that, Chris?
I do. I just hope Kyle's dad doesn't take to Twitter to complain about it. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I absolutely think there was something to it. I mean, no, I believe there was something to it. He's saying, listen, I've been trying to tell you for a year I was the man, and now I'm going to go out and show you.
Yeah. JR, what do you think?
Listen, I don't want to be too hard on Kyle McCord because at the end of the day, if there is something going on behind the scenes, in his personal life, I do feel bad and I don't want him to have to suffer from that. But if we're just talking strictly football, which all fans should be talking just strictly football, I'm glad if he is taking a shot at Kyle McCord there, I'm glad he is because Devin Brown and in my mind, never got the fair shot at taking that job. It should have been a 2-game system to where Kyle got a game and Devin got a game. I'm not afraid to say it. Ryan Day screwed that up. Ryan Day did not make the right decision of trying to go back and forth and flip flop him in the game. That was never going to help anybody. It was never going to be good for anybody. And so now we see this Kyle McCord that got the job maybe undeservedly. We have no idea. I guess he did get picked, so I guess, that is somewhat deservedly so. But at the end of the day, Devin Brown's going to get his chance now. And if the only reason he's leaving is because the competition was open back up, I'm glad he's gone. And I'm glad Devin Brown is putting out that photo and saying, hey, I'm the man. Come at me. If you want to bring a transfer in, I'm going to beat him out too.
Mark Swick shows competitive fire. Absolutely. Yep. That's what I wrote in my article was that I want the thing that bothered me most about, about McCord was the fact that I just didn't see that leadership and that competitive fire. The only time we got it was when we beat this guy's favorite team in Notre Dame. And Brian says, wouldn't it be terrible if you guys depart this season with a loss to the team up north? Thank you for at least signifying what they are called. No CFP appearance and no bowl game win. Brian, if that happens, I'll have to call you and you can walk me through how you deal with that since you're an expert on it as a Notre Dame fan. So that being said, let's go down to this guy who apparently is getting his Wi-Fi from the Amish family next door. Aaron,
that's how it feels. I will say that.
tell me, man, like as a competitor, taking a shot at a former teammate. What do you think?
Dude, I'm all for it. That's what you got to have is teammates that talk trash to one another, that drive the competition. Competition only makes the business better. That is a simple business principle. I hate all of you, by the way. Please don't get offended and report us. All right, we don't need any more of that. I'll let Eric break that one down later. Lot to unpack there. But yeah, I'm with it. I'm all for it. I hope he did take a shot at McCord. And if Kyle ran, continue to hide behind Daddy. I'm cool with that. Just do it somewhere else.
All right, real quick, since we're on McCord, because I'm with you, JR. I think Devin Brown's going to get the start in the bowl game, and I want to see him play the whole bowl game. McCord to Nebraska. I read today where Syracuse reached out. He's a Northeast kid. He's from the Philadelphia area. Daddy played for New Jersey's state school in Rutgers. Syracuse makes sense to me. It's a school where I think he can go and expectations aren't through the roof. But I also think Syracuse is a type of school where he's going to have to try to elevate what's around him. I made, a lot of people this week are dogging our show because we basically said that Kyle McCord wasn't good enough for our team, despite the fact he went 11-1 as a starter. And people are like, you guys are crazy. Let me reiterate. We believe as a show, I believe personally, that the talent around Kyle brought him up. He did not elevate anybody else on that offense. They elevated him. And as Aaron has pointed out now for 3 years, his recruiting ranking has a lot more to do with who he was throwing the football to in high school, who elevated his game in recruiting ranking as opposed to vice versa. If he goes to Nebraska, that's a fan base that is just as passionate about their team as we are about ours. And I know they have had a lot of bad quarterbacks lately, okay? And I saw you cringe, JR. I'm going to give the floor to you next because I know you've been going back and forth with Cornhusker fans on this. I'll start with you. I'll let you explain that. But do you think that is a good landing spot for McCord if he goes to the land of corn, or are you like me and say he probably should go to a place like Syracuse?
I thought it'd be a bad landing spot because I thought the Nebraska fans would have some self respect and some expectations for themselves. But no, apparently, I thought Nebraska fans were like us. I have always had an affinity for Nebraska fans because they have always seemed to be a pretty hard nosed. We want more, we want better. We're a better program than this. And then I put a tweet out there saying something about, oh, Nebraska fan. If Kyle McCord thinks going from Ohio State fans who are, supposedly unruly and unfair to Nebraska fans who are just chill and okay with everything, he's sorely mistaken. When in reality, apparently Nebraska fans have no self-respect for themselves, and they're like, hey, if he just gets 6 wins, he'll be our savior. He'll make everything okay, and we're gonna build a statue for him because he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I can't believe how far the Nebraska program has fallen that fans want to just think if he just gets us 6 wins, he's the greatest thing that's ever walked through the door. I can't believe that, but apparently, if they're just looking for 6 wins, it might be the place for them.
Aaron.
JR nailed it. I don't know what else to say about it. I feel about Kyle McCord the way I felt about Tough Borland. Maybe Bryson Shaw sprinkled in there a little bit. If he goes to Nebraska, cool. He fits right in. And if Fleming follows him, cool. He can drop the ball over there. That's what else is there to say about it,
Chris.
The thing with McCord is this. Like you said, he doesn't have the leadership skills. He does not have the passion. I look at him and I see a less talented Johnny Manziel.
For McCord?
Hey,
yes.
You're giving him way too much
He
credit.
He may not have the how do I put it? He may not have the off the field problems that came with a Johnny Manziel, but what I'm talking about is that lack of passion. I see a much less talented Johnny Manziel when I look at Kyle McCord.
I don't see that comparison at all, to be honest with you.
I'm from a passion standpoint, from a desire to play the game. Manziel never had it. I don't think McCord's got it either.
No. He had it in the games. You go back and watch Johnny Manziel during the football games that he was in, like the one in Alabama. That dude was a gamer on the field.
I was a Browns fan. Let me tell you, Johnny Manziel did not.
Different Johnny Manziel right there.
NFL Johnny Manziel. That's what I was thinking of too.
Well, even in college, he failed to prepare, and that was the problem.
Yes.
McCord prepared and still couldn't. He still sucked. Manziel never prepared, and he just went out and gamed.
Neither one of them have a desire to get any better.
Right.
I think that's a big part of the problem. I think McCord would have a lot of success at a MAC program. I think McCord might have a lot of success at a low-level Power 5 program as far as getting them their 6-6. But you know what? The fact is, McCord is just not a winner. Cut and dry.
All right. I had to throw that last one out there, Chris, by Ty James. I thought that was pretty good. Terrible comparison.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion, Ty, even if you're wrong.
Everyone is entitled to my opinion.
There it is. There it is.